Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
The capacity of an individual to make the right choice in life, to be useful to himself, his own family, and the society around him depends on how much of buddhi, not the intelligence which comes out of skills, not the IT skills or the other skills which a person, we spend so much money to develop these skills. They are of course necessary to get a job, but beyond that, how to use those skills, how to make yourself happy, make the people around you happy, be useful to yourself, your own family, to your own society, and also in the same process make others happy. That requires buddhi or viveka buddhi, as it is known in our scriptures. You see the young Nachiketa, he was, in fact, as far as buddhi is concerned, as far as Shraddha is concerned, he had more buddhi and Shraddha than his own father, who was his guru. That is why he goes to Yama and asks him. He says, I want a permanent solution to all the problems. I just am not happy. Yama tries to distract him. He says, here is wealth, here is the skill, whatever you want, you can rule the kingdom, rule the whole world, half the world if you want. I am giving you those boons. He said, what shall I do? I want that skill which enables me to understand the secrets of life, which will solve all my problems, not just my physical problems, my mental problems, but also my spiritual problems, the deeper aspirations of my life, which at some stage of my life, after a lot of experience, a human being comes to a stage where he understands that all the energy, all the enthusiasm, all the focus he spent in acquiring things, in gathering name, fame, power, everything, he suddenly comes to a dead wall when he is nearing death. And he says, am I going to leave everything behind? At that time, experience tells him that you had to be wise enough to make the right choice when you were acquiring these skills, acquiring money, and all the things that you did now will not come to your help. And not a single penny you can take with you. So Swami Vivekananda says, every youth, that is his main message, should have that kind of Shraddha which a 14-year-old Nachiketa had. Nachiketa was obviously not even a youth, he was a boy, 13 or 14-year-old boy, in whom Swami Vivekananda says, Shraddha entered. Shraddha doesn't enter just like that. It has to be cultivated, it has to come from hard work, it has to come from prayer, it has to come from meditation, it has to come from spiritual practice, which should be part of our life. Otherwise our life can be very, very miserable. With all the skills, you see in society around what is happening, highly skilled people, wrong choices they make in life. I'll give you some very concrete examples. How wrong choices make people suffer. You know, many of the people even today, they have a dream to go abroad, just go abroad, get a job. Some of them even manage to spend their hard-earned father's money and study in some of the most prestigious universities. I am telling from personal experience, because many of them unable to get the visas. After studies within 2 years, you don't get a visa, you have to come back. But with all their PhDs and with all the qualifications, they could have easily come here. Any of the universities would employ them and they will get a decent job. But this insistence to just stay there, they work as storehouse keepers, work as in big stores, either operating the computer there with the PhD skills they have. So when I asked them, why are you wasting your life here? You're not going to get jobs. Your qualification demands a much better opportunity for you. And you are here just doing a job which even a matriculate can do. They'll be very happy. The Tesco stores, they have so many PhDs and masters working just to survive because they have to pay their bills. Who's going to pay the cost of the expenses they have to incur? I have myself come across some of the youths. I said, why don't you just go back? There are hundreds of universities who will easily employ you with the qualification that you have, or you can start your own some kind of you can become an entrepreneur if you go to India. The opportunities are immense. But the wrong choice which they have made, that was their dream, that they should go there to a country, even if it means starving, and asking this person, that person, doing odd jobs. I've seen chartered accountants who could easily stand on their own legs if they just decide to come back. So, what is the reason they cannot make this right choice? Why they are forced to make choices which make them suffer all their life? That is because of this lack of buddhi. So Vivekananda was very clear. He used to say that we should emulate the example of Nachiketa, the Shraddha he had in the spiritual values. And as Swami Vivekananda said, if you want to know which civilizations make progress, like the Indian civilization, and keep on making progress without destroying itself, he says that civilization is more successful, more progressive, not because it has more money or more its economy is big. That is all temporary. It will stay, but one day they also will collapse. But he says only that economy, civilization, is the progressive reading of spirit into matter. The divinity that has sustained India, the spiritual core spiritual values, the eternal spiritual values. Our rishis, the author of Bhagavad Gita and so many saints, they were wise people. Their buddhi was awakened. They know what was good. They know what was Shreya. Yama tells Nachiketa, see, two things come before you. One is Shreya and another is Preya. Preya means that which is pleasant. It's very pleasant. As they say, the grass is green on the other side of the fence. So people have these dreams that I go to such and such a country, they read so many things and go there, and then they find things are not what they really thought of. And then they have to struggle, but now they will lose face if they come back. So you see how wrong choices that buddhi. Nachiketa could have accepted. Yama offered him so much of wealth. He said, just wait a minute. This wealth is not going to be permanent. I have seen people with wealth, after they die, what happens to that? These are temporary things. I want something permanent, something that will sustain me. So Nachiketas by the thousands, Swamiji said, we want Nachiketas, every youth, in fact, in his lectures from Colombo to Almora, he said, every one of you should read the life of Nachiketa and Yama, the dialogue between them, in the Kathopanishad. It's one of the very famous books. Now you can just, thanks to AI and Google, you can just find out very good English meanings of all these Sanskrit verses. Try to read what that wonderful story is. Try to read other stories. These are not just stories. These are stories of youth who have made the right choices in life because of their buddhi, because they had the education which enabled them to make the right choice. The education that gave them not only skills, but also the capacity to use the skills for their own betterment and for the betterment of society. So that is what Swami Vivekananda's eternal message to the youth is. In this book, Guru to the World, she not only writes, she focuses more on the women disciples, because even in England in those days, women were not even allowed to vote. So there was a women's empowerment movement going on. And Henrietta Muller, another young lady, and Sister Nivedita, and there was one lady, Miss Morrison, who married an English woman. She even stood for the post of President of United States, because the Constitution did not prevent women for standing for the post of President. But they could not vote. It's so ironical that you can stand for the post of a president, and that lady invited Vivekananda and said, see the fun, I cannot vote for my own candidature. She could stand. Of course, she lost miserably. Nobody would vote a woman in America in those days. Even today, I doubt if a woman can become a president. They talk so much of gender equality and all, but India is far more empowered as far as the gender equality is concerned. But anyway, Swami Vivekananda, all these young women who in those days, they got inspiration. This has been very beautifully described by Ruth Harris in her book. He said, in those days it was unimaginable for women even to raise their voices. Some of them were mercilessly crushed, though they say it is an accident, under the carriage when they started protesting. They said, why don't we get voting rights? So women had to struggle a lot. So women's empowerment was another thing, especially the younger women should derive a lot of inspiration from the wonderful life of Nivedita and others, and a host of others who took up the ideas. And of course, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, whom Swami Vivekananda wanted to place before the Indian youth, especially women, as a role model. How, if spirituality guides the secular, your day-to-day activities. If you see Holy Mother's life, she was such a dignified, empowered woman. Though she might not have been skilled or qualified like the modern women, but she had that dignity. She continued to even run the whole Ramakrishna movement silently, without losing her stability. Any crisis came in her life, not only within the small circle in which she lived. Apparently she lived in a very small circle, but so many problems came to her. Even the monks, even Vivekananda did not have the guts to go to America before he got her letter. He said, I'll wait. If Holy Mother says you can go, you will be successful, I'll go. So imagine the empowerment Holy Mother had. So that is the type of empowerment, spiritual empowerment, which Swami Vivekananda wanted Indian boys as well as especially girls. Because one of his main issues when in those days was this empowerment of women. Not only in the field of education, but in the field of administration, field of spirituality. In a male-dominated society, even in Christianity, if you see, you cannot imagine a woman can rise to the level of a pope or the head of the church. You cannot. Whereas Swami Vivekananda wanted women to take up this challenge and be leaders in their own right. Not just as someone who loses their independence. That fierce spirit of independence, that is the hallmark of Sri Ma Sharda Devi. How independent she was. 34 years after Sri Ramakrishna passed away, she did not cry, she did not weep. She was not even discouraged. She just went on doing her duties and empowering people, initiating lakhs and lakhs of people, whoever came to her, a source of strength and support, the ideal of mother in society. Swami Vivekananda saw this in the Ramakrishna incarnation. So, if he had a plan for youth today, and I will conclude, he would imagine our boys as well as girls to have equal opportunities for skill development, for a little bit of material development, a little bit of educational development, a little bit of intellectual and mental development, so that their skill sets are enhanced and they can stand on their own feet, not just cry for jobs, always looking for jobs, be job creators. That was his idea, and it applies to men as well as women. It's not just for boys, it's meant for girls, but especially for women. He would, based on what he spoke about Sri Ma Sharda Devi, he would like totally independent women who take decisions not because somebody else guides them, but they have their own. You see, Holy Mother's life. Sri Ramakrishna led his life, though he was married to Sri Ma Sharda Devi. And that is why the Western women, somehow they appreciate Ma Sharda Devi more than Ramakrishna. I asked many of the women, they even ask, can we get the Holy Mother's mantra? She is more of an inspiration to us than even Swami Vivekananda, than even Sri Ramakrishna. Because she has taught us, she has shown by own life that she can be as independent as Vivekananda or even more than Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. She showed by her own life. Read the wonderful life. So Vivekananda pointed out to this Guru Bhais. He said, I want a mutt for women first. For men we can have later, but I want a mutt for women because they need it more. And he wished that Sri Ma Sharda Devi would be the center around which the modern empowered women with all their modern education still maintained their dignity, they maintained their independence to take their own decisions, right choices, make right choices in life, and not just be dependent on other people to make decisions in their life. Because Swami Vivekananda, and I conclude, Swami Vivekananda always said, dependence is misery. Whether you depend on money or anything, dependence is always misery. The more independent you are, physically independent, mentally independent, intellectually independent, and above all, spiritually very independent, to take your spiritual destiny in your own hands and make what you want yourself to be, whatever be your ideal, and make it as closer as possible to the spiritual ideal. That is what Swami Vivekananda said. Civilization means progressive reading of spirit. You start with matter, you start with the Annamaya Kosha, then slowly start developing your other koshas, the Pranamaya Kosha, the Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheath, then Vijnanamaya Kosha, and finally when you touch the Anandamaya Kosha and transcend even that, then you become really empowered, totally independent of anything in the world, anything that is worldly. That is what he meant is civilization is reading more and more spirit in our day-to-day activities. They may be simple activities. Holy Mother did not do big activities, big movements. She just cleaned her floor, cooked food. In a simple household, she did her normal work. But was there anybody more spiritually empowered than her? So we have to make the right choice to make ourselves empowered in all the fields, but definitely not at the cost of spiritual empowerment. That is the message of Swami Vivekananda for the youth, for boys, for girls, for women of India, as well as the entire world. Thank you.
Become Swami Vivekananda's messenger. Share the video with 3 of your friends.